Александрович и ваша семья приговорены к смерти и сейчас будете расстреляны.
Что? Что вы сказали? Повторите. Господи, прости их, не ведают, что творят.
Of the House of Romanov's 65 members, only 47 survived the Soviet purges. The Romanov family would not formally reorganize itself until 1979, though there had been several claimants before then. Despite Kirill assuming the head of the Romanov family in 1924, efforts to reclaim Russia from the Soviets were not well received. He would pass quietly in 1938, and his son Vladimir would take power over the imperial family, but his actions as the head of the imperial family were unpopular with its other branches. So long as Holy Russia remained occupied by the Red Scourge, there was no chance of a restoration. Until 1991, when the Soviet Union would dissolve, less than 2 decades after the Romanov family reorganized itself formally. Rather than press their claim, the Romanov Family Association supported the elections and stated they would throw their lot in with whatever Russian government the people elected. As of 2020, parliamentary politics has led United Russia to have a one-party hold on the state. Vladimir Putin is the undisputed ruler and has been since he was nominated by Yeltsin for the role in 2000. Various other political parties exist, like A Just Russia, the CPRF, the LDPR, but they mainly function as satellites for United Russia, controlled opposition that United Russia utilizes as vestiges for support. Among these various political parties is a small but notable party, the Monarchist Party of Russia, founded by Anton Bakov. Even though Bakov is the head of the Monarchist Party of Russia, in truth, the largest monarchist force within Russia is easily the LDPR. The LDPR, while it is largely a nationalist organization, it contains many monarchists within it, as indicated by its ever-present use of the imperial tricolor. As 2020 rolls around, Putin realizes that he is old and decides that it's time to make some constitutional changes so that nobody can ever repeat what he did for Russia ever again. With the passing of these constitutional amendments, after Putin is out of power, no one can ever hold more than 2 terms in charge ever again. At least that's the idea. Of course, anybody can make constitutional amendments if they so have the power to. But as it's outlined in these amendments specifically, the State Duma shares much more power as compared to how they used to. What would Russia look like now, post-Putin, with these amendments in place that prevent more than 2 terms being served? Just ever. 2 terms in the Russian Republic is still 12 years, so it's quite a bit of time to get things done. The question to ask is that when your main opposition is communists and fascists, is it really a wise idea to leave the system in their hands? This experiment will have its answer sooner than anyone had hoped. What with Putin having contracted the COVID-19 virus and dying shortly thereafter, the 2022 emergency elections would ultimately put this constitutional experiment to the test. Though all parties put up a good fight, Just Russia, United Russia, and the CPRF were beat out by the LDPR in the 2022 elections. With the election of Vladimir Wolfovich Zhirinovsky, it was obvious the path Russia was on now was one of increasing authoritarianism and an inevitable invasion of their neighbors to reclaim what is considered core to Holy Russia. The election of a figure like Zhirinovsky ensures only one thing: invasion. Invasion is a definite in this administration. Zhirinovsky's actual solid policies are hard to define. In most of his tenure as the leader of the LDPR, he has been a populist who would prefer to shoot his problems rather than create policy to solve them. But regardless, policy was necessary, and it was time to take on the role of a guiding hand. Empowering the reformers into office, it was time for the LDPR to implement a party platform. Suspending the Duma and the Constitution in a speech to the people, which was called after, of course, the opposition was worried the direction that would be taken by the LDPR. Without much policy to draw from, everything was brand new. The suspension of the Constitution was the first action taken to ensure that there was no opposition to any actions taken. That and the establishment of a security bureau, but ultimately what mattered most was the direction of the economy. Reviving the Russian economic sphere was important because after Western sanctions, after the Soviet collapse, Russian industry has suffered time and time again. Exploitation by oligarchs and, of course, buyouts from foreign companies. How do we solve foreign industrial influence? Autarky. That's right. We institute autarky. But autarky is a very inflationary policy, as is our rearmament. So, we can solve that by putting the ruble on a gold standard. This will prevent inflation and help us in post-war recovery once we get there. Despite the development and deployment of higher technology vehicles and guns, it was deemed more important to have higher quantity rather than quality to match the numbers of NATO. About half of the military remained mechanized, while the other half became motorized. This was supplemented by heavy use of self-propelled guns, which were able to be given in high numbers to all formations equally. In an effort to challenge myself, I set it to guaranteed NATO victory. It didn't really affect much. The armies were gathered. Everything was prepared. We could not be any better prepared than we were. Along for the ride, I had several of the developers in a voice chat to watch and see how I did, all while they were doing their own things and conversing. But that means I have a few voice clips of my own to include. Live reactions of me carving through the lines. It's always a fun war. Always. Some of you are aware that I'm hosting a multiplayer game next week for this mod, so I'll let you in on my strategy when it comes to invading Ukraine just a little bit. It might help you out if you want to pay attention to it. You might want to go in blind. If not, skip ahead about 30 seconds. So this should about sum it up. No, I'm joking. Let me simplify it a bit. 56 divisions in the north, 18 on Crimea. X marks the spot where you meet in the middle. Every time it gets you a major encirclement of Ukraine's military, which is always the largest single contingent in the war. Knocking it out, well, it's pretty important. And once you do it, there's not a whole lot stopping you from going west. The best way to open up is to just crack out of Crimea as quick as you can, get to that river and get across it, and then start with the salient right there, cutting across from the north down to Donetsk and Luhansk to cut off a portion of the army. The rest follows my X marks the spot plan. In this run, I've got the entire NATO border covered with about 3 armies worth of motorized, according to the template I showed earlier. So, that's going to be holding. And in no time at all, you can take the coast, encircle them at Mariupol, and cut north, all in a span of about 23 real-life seconds. We consume the entire coastline and start linking up with the northern front. Yeah, look at that. It's incredible speed. I'm just gonna time-lapse the rest of this. Don't mind me.
Не сбросай самокрутку, будет гренадером спать, дуди в свою дудку по будку, скоро нам в поход выступать. Эй, гренадеры, застягай мундиры, правили затворы, расправляю сын, только бы пуля да буря не погода, с дуру не попортила нашей красы. Эй, гренадеры, отставить разговоры, запевала нашу запевай. И не щадя глоток, и не жалея пяток, в направлении Парижа выступай. Все ближе и ближе мы к городу Парижу, до ихнего Версаля уж рукой подать. А ну же и французы, натягивай ритузы, выходи с французскими гостей встречать. Нет нам дела до парижского шику, и добро нам их накоено, но от наших песен гонору и крику будет ихним фронтом неспокойно.
The war began in August and ended in December. For once, we really were home by Christmas. The old man was reportedly so happy about the victory, he had a heart attack on the spot and died within the week, leaving the nation in crisis, and the LDPR especially, which relied on his personality cult for its popularity. With no Zhirinovsky, the LDPR was left leaderless, scattered, and searching among itself for someone to unite the party. Meanwhile, the people were calling for a restoration of the monarchy. The Tsars were a controversial topic, but with the nationalists empowered, the Tsar was never any closer than they were before. Of the available candidates, Rostislav Rostislavovich of House Romanov was selected to take the throne. He'd been living in Russia since 2009. He was the first Romanov to do this, moving back to Russia, that is, but doubts were cast on his ability to rule, on the fact that his main profession is working as a painter. The American-born, British-raised Tsar, who barely knew Russian, was now the leader of the nation. He would have to prove himself in these coming years. A surprise to fucking no one, the restoration of the Tsar, the Islamic populations, and the newly acquired territories did not mix well. The Islamics figured that the Orthodox-focused Tsar would violate their rights. And the newly gained territories, of course, wanted to be free. Due to the Tsar's own ineptitude and totally not me being distracted by a voice chat I was in, this didn't get solved until 2030. Yeah, that meant I never got around to doing my econometry. I started the war. It's not the war. Fuck. Oh my god. I'm leaving this in. Fuck it. I could not finish my tree in a reasonable time. There you go. Speaking of things being done in an unreasonable time, the communists just decided to start the war in 2030, which is about 2 years earlier than I'm used to. Oh, they weren't ready. They were not ready at all. Good Lord, they weren't ready.
Why are we afraid? Our motherland in danger. These attacks aren't random. We just had elections.
Neo-Bolsheviks.
Our Holy War, Fund Allied Defense. Gains Marcus Roberts? We're sending a guy called Marcus Roberts. He's gonna be there for 200 days. He doesn't do fucking anything. He doesn't do a goddamn thing. Petascale computing. Uh-oh. You know what that means.
What happens?
It's wartime. God.
Oh, shit.
Now, would you look at the time? It's war o'clock. Would you look at the time?
In the short 4-year period of peace, we were able to take the half of our army that was motorized and mechanize it. Our output, our stopping power, our breakthrough has never been at a higher rate than it is now. The Bolsheviks never stood a chance.
It's war o'clock. I can't wait to run these fuckers over. Oh, look at that. Outlawed is in power of Poland. Outlawed is in power. Okay, so let's see how the Internationale holds up. Okay. All right. Here's mine. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, we can slow down a little. Okay. You can slow down. All right. Now what if I just threw my bog standard infantry? Just threw them at it. What? You're joking. My bog standard motorized. It's rough, but it's working. How many men in the field am I facing, actually? Just about roughly 500,000 to 1 million more than what I have. Not terrible. Oh, we just broke straight through. We are through the checks. Okay.
Why do they surrender so fast?
I had all their victory points. That'll do it. So they have Trieste. I don't like that they have Trieste. That means they have supply in this area. I'd like them not to. Awesome. Okay. Alright, I got the thousands of banners modifier back. Now give me victory bonds, and I can activate my nuclear arsenal. We have to have the victory bonds to use our nukes. We can't activate them without public funding, guys. Come on, crowdfund it, crowdfund it, crowdfunding. Go fund me to activate the Russian nuclear arsenal. Have I actually taken Berlin yet? Hard to say. I can't. Nope, I've not. We'll nuke it. Oh, they invaded Switzerland, huh? Interesting. Oh, hi there. When did that happen? I didn't realize the British had landed. Literally, how did that happen? Why is the French capital in Strasbourg? Oh, because I nuked Paris. That would be why. How did Luxembourg capitulating fuck my entire front?
Despite our victory in Europe, despite our complete victory over European Bolshevism, there is a threat brewing in Asia. While the Great Asian War has yet to happen because the European War fired so early, we can take this opportunity to help Japan when it does fire by taking down China a peg now. Let's stop communism anywhere it spawns, and let's get some of our old sphere of influence back while doing it.
Whatever. We're just gonna do it. They're ready for us.
Oh, let's go.
All right.
Asian war is so bad.
Okay. All right, how about the Xinjiang front? All right.
Thanks for joining me on another beautiful Sunday night, or a more than likely Monday morning. I had a bit of writer's block with this one. I had to take breaks throughout the course of the day, and it's right now 11:31 p.m. I'm glad to have finally gotten it done, but good Lord, I like to never get myself together right at the start. But hey, I'm glad I did, and I think I put together something you'll like, and, well, if you didn't like it, you wouldn't be here at the end listening to me, so thank you as always, and hey, I hope to see you at that game next weekend. Bye-bye.